And time now for some business headlines. And for some help with that, let's bring in America's accountant, Professor Dan Geltrude. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning, Allie.
Dan, it's just you. It's just you and me. Seth's taking a break. Jen is off. So we'll have some.
And then there was one.
Well, then there was one. All right. So first, hiding under a lake in California, lithium is found, and it's an essential component for tech companies. It's very short supply, as we've talked about before. So the U.S. currently it imports mostly all of its lithium from global sources. Dan, should we mine lithium, and should the U.S. even start looking at mining and producing more minerals?
Here is the challenge, Allie. So you need lithium for batteries in electric vehicles. And there's a big push, right? For the environment, we got to go with electric vehicles. But the truth of the matter is that you have mining going on all around the globe. And I'm no environmental expert, but it seems to me that if we're going to be digging up all over the place in order to extract these minerals, such as lithium, there has to be an environmental impact. And you know who's digging around the world? China.
Yeah.
They see this is where things are going. They want to have control over lithium because if they do, they're going to have control over the batteries that power electric vehicles.
Yeah, you mentioned China, Dan. There's a mine in Afghanistan that apparently has been taken over by China. So you're right on target with them. Great point there. So we'll see what happens. Meantime, the Ford CEO making a commitment to eliminate the, quote, unreasonable markups auto dealers have been charging. The hike in prices started as the demand for vehicles skyrocketed. Dan, is this Ford CEO making a good stance here?
Well, it's an interesting position he's taking, right? So when you're talking about price gouging, which does occur from time to time, unfortunately, it generally relates to something that's essential for the public. You know, you have these natural disasters and people start selling water bottles for $10 each, right? So that is considered, well, not a good thing to do. However, when you're talking about vehicles, if these dealers are way overpricing, people just won't buy them. So although I understand where he's coming from, to me, that's something that the market can determine because I don't consider that people need vehicles, don't get me wrong, but that's not an essential to be able to live.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll see what happens. Well, Peloton back in the news as companies circle like vultures after Peloton's market value has dropped from $50 million to around $8 million in the past year. So Amazon and Nike are two of the biggest names. Dan, yeah, Peloton. So what happened is there was a huge demand for their bikes when we had the COVID lockdown, and they actually couldn't make them fast enough. I know people that were waiting months for them. So then the lockdown ended, and so then the demand went down, and so they were struggling because more people were going back to the gym. And once you get a bike, there really isn't much more to get. You could get one of their treadmills. So they've been struggling. They actually lowered their prices to the bike, and they were hoping that would help. But then I just saw that they increased. So what they did is instead of doing free shipping, now you have to pay for shipping. So there's a lot going on. Do you think that Nike, Amazon would be a good thing for them to buy, or do you think this will help Peloton at all?
I think as the price of their stock continues to drop, they're going to become more and more of an interesting acquisition for someone. Now, although they are coming down in terms of popularity, they really do have a loyal following. And I'm sure that there are some companies out there for the right price, Allie, are willing to make this acquisition to be able to pull in those loyal customers to Peloton and bring them in to be part of a larger brand. Yeah. And so I think the direction Peloton is heading, they probably will be acquired probably in the near future.
Yeah, I think you're right, and they have a loyal following. Something, just thinking from a brand standpoint, they have an app, so you don't even need to have the bike or the treadmill. You can actually use the app and do all sorts of workouts. So I think they need to really promote that app because you got people that are subscribing every month, and even if they don't use it, they usually forget to unsubscribe, so they're getting money while they sleep. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll be talking about this more. All right, so you want fries with that? Well, it's going to cost you more at McDonald's after increasing prices by 6% last year. The burger giant is set to raise prices again this year. Of course, inflation and the rise of food costs are to be blaming for that. Dan, we see this happening all over the place, not just McDonald's.
It's not just McDonald's, but I just want to spend a few seconds here on McDonald's because as I've not made it a secret that I love McDonald's. So as far as the price of McDonald's products going up, can you put a price on happiness? I mean, French fries at McDonald's, does it get any better than that? So if I have to pay more, even a lot more for that, I'm going to do it. But on the wider picture here, Allie, it comes down to this. If people have the money to spend and they have the desire for certain products, they're going to continue to spend. Ultimately, the market levels this out because they determine people just won't purchase after a certain price point.
Yeah.
So the trick is to find that price point. And for me, when it comes to McDonald's, I haven't hit it yet.
All right, he'll pay anything for fries. I'm more of a Chick-fil-A girl, but their fries are good. All right, let's stick on the topic of fun things, whether it's eating or drinking. Whiskey makers, they have something to raise a glass about. Sales have jumped more than 15%. I'm actually surprised it's just 15%. Why do you think there's such an uptick in sales, and were you a part of that increase?
Well, I was not part of that increase, although I certainly was a part of other increases. Look, people are drinking more alcohol, I would assume. Why? Because they are fed up. The metaverse isn't widely available to everybody just yet, so the alternate universe that they're going to is probably having a few more drinks here and there. So yesterday we were talking about the introduction of alcohol back on airplanes. So that's probably going to help whiskey sales. So I just think that people really are looking for a break from all these mandates and all this bad news. Like anything, give me a shot. I may even start contributing.
There you go. Listen, I hear you. It's interesting too, Dan, because I'm seeing more and more women drink whiskey. Whiskey usually is like a man's drink, but I'm noticing a lot more women. It seems to be more trendy. I think it also has less calories than some other alcoholic beverages. So it's all about being healthy and safe. All right, Dan Geltrude, we'll see you in the next hour. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Allie.
And Facebook